for joining us at the We Know Lanark County podcast today. I'm talking to Petra Graber, who is the owner and operator of the Good Food Company in Carleton Place. How are you doing today, Petra?
Very well, thank you.
Good.
It's my day off. So.
A bit of relaxation. I saw your tomato plants are getting nice and red and I'm jealous.
Yes, I ate one today.
Did you?
I have I think I have 6 different kinds of tomato plants on my little deck in my apartment up here.
Really?
I live in the apartment above my restaurant, and it's a very hot deck.
You get lots of sun.
Yeah, lots of sun. Too much sometimes, but yeah.
Perfect for tomatoes, though.
Yes. And I'm going to be eating them myself. I'm not going to be using them in the restaurant. There's no way. So.
Yeah, keep the good stuff. There wouldn't be enough to feed everybody anyway, I'm sure.
No, not at all. No.
Tell me a little bit about the history of the Good Food Company, because I know what it is now wasn't what you had originally planned when you opened in 1997.
Not at all. No. No.
Seems like forever ago.
Yeah, I actually started out with a friend baking savory and sweet things for the Carleton Place and the Perth farmers markets. And so we did that 2 summers in a row, just cooking out of our parents' kitchens. And I was living with my father-in-law at the time. And we did a bit of catering on the side and decided that we wanted a commercial kitchen. And then she became pregnant, so I took over that pursuit myself. And the storefront where I am was available for rent, but it was much bigger than I wanted it to be. So I just wanted some takeout fridges and a commercial kitchen and maybe a couple of seats where you could sit and have some coffee. But there was a lot of floor space, so I ended up putting in more tables than I thought. And I thought, okay, well, I'll just, people can buy stuff at the counter and go sit down. And then I thought, well, this was in 1997 in Carleton Place. I thought there's nowhere to have a cappuccino or, listen to some live music with a glass of wine or have a nice weekend brunch. So I just kept adding all of these services that I wanted. And I thought it's kind of a no-brainer because there was no place to do this in town. And I figured all these people going into Ottawa to go to these places would come to me, but it didn't work out that way. But anyway, I ended up with a completely full service licensed restaurant. And it is not at all what I wanted to do. And I remember the first Saturday I was open, I was standing there looking out going, what did I just do to myself? So, yeah, it was a huge learning curve. I had only worked in one restaurant, Burger King, when I was 16, and
a little different.
And I worked for a pastry chef for 6 months. I answered an ad in the paper back in 1989, and I worked for a pastry chef for 6 months. So I kind of learned how to do pastries in that 6 months. But that was it. That's all the experience I ever had in a restaurant. So I had no idea what I was doing. None.
Amazing.
Yeah. Anyway, I guess there's something to be said for being young and energetic and really ignorant and stubborn. I think those combinations, that somehow it worked, I guess.
Yeah. Well, like you said, you're kind of the first of its kind in Carleton Place, because I remember you told me once that people were coming in asking for burgers and pizza and stuff, and you just
yes.
didn't have a deep fryer in the restaurant. So
yeah, very disappointed though. Well, I did have people, rightly so, say to me, well, why don't you have these things? And I said, well, you can get it everywhere else. I'm trying to be something different than that. And they said, well, it seems to be working for them.
Oh my gosh.
I said, that's true. Yes. But anyway, a lot of what happened was me wanting to force the kind of food that I wanted people to eat down their throats, and the customers trying to force me to serve them what they wanted. So eventually we met somewhere in the middle.
Yeah.
But
well, the food
I was very stubborn.
It's all made from scratch, right? Like all of your food is.
It is.
is
Yeah.
fresh.
Yeah,
You don't have
we
a deep
make all of our own
fryer.
desserts, our own dressings, our own. I do buy my bread from Baker Bob's in Almont.
Sure, but he makes his bread, so
Yeah,
all
yeah.
from scratch.
He opened about 3 months before I did, so
Yeah.
we've both been around a long time. And over the years, we chatted a lot with each other about business and the problems we were having and the questions.
Why are we doing this?
Yeah, well, that was a big part. I
Well,
think being a small business person takes a special kind of craziness,
special kind of crazy, that's for sure.
which is the same being in real estate, I'm sure.
It is.
Yeah.
Definitely a special kind of crazy. But you have a degree in microbiology, don't you?
I never completed it.
Okay.
No, I started off in that area. And actually my professor in second year took me aside and said, you know, Petra, he said, you have the head for this, but he said, it's not really in it. So I think you should really take some time off and figure out what you really want to be doing with your life. So it was very good advice. So I worked I worked for several small businesses actually through my 20s, trying to figure out what I did want to do. And I just decided I wanted to open my own business. I didn't know what that would be. I was sewing at the time too. I was doing a lot of kind of design work and clothing and things for myself. And I thought about that as an option. But I knew what I wanted it to be was something where I was solo. I didn't want any employees. I didn't want to manage anybody.
So much for
And
that.
I ended up with this restaurant with trying to manage employees, and I had no idea what I was doing, and
How many
I didn't
people
know
are on
anything really about the psychology of customers either, and how to interact with any. I was
Right.
very introverted. I like to watch people, but the customers forced me to have to figure that out. It was it was almost like going to school for, I don't know, a combination of psychology and cooking, I guess,
Anthropology.
and small business management.
Yeah.
And yeah, so
All of it, for sure. Because that's, yeah, it's just such a great spot to have in town. And I know, like, I come, well, I used to come all the time,
yeah.
at least, once a week, right? It's just different now. You were closed for a period of time, right? When COVID started?
No, we actually stayed open through COVID. That was kind of more of a decision for my mental health.
Yeah.
I thought, I live upstairs, as I said, above the restaurant. So I thought, rather than curling up in a ball in the corner, I'll just try to keep, the light on. And it was partly to keep myself moving, and also to keep something open on the street. It's for, yeah, I guess something positive out there. So I kind of I went back to my original idea of trying to do kind of specialty grocery items out of the fridge, just the commercial kitchen with fridges. And so I started to try to get back into that headspace of, okay, what was this plan before, and what was I selling at the market? And would anybody be interested in buying this to, help them with their meals at home? So I've got a bit of a hybrid now. It probably took about 10 or 12 weeks before there were a few more people out on the street looking for hot food to go. So, so now we're serving breakfast, a full breakfast menu from 8 till 2:30, and we have lunch specials, much less emphasis on lunch. And I'm trying to do the takeout specialty grocery items. So honestly, I'm actually hoping to kind of stay in that vein. I'm going back to my original fantasy of what I wanted the place to be. So as we're allowed to have some people inside, I will put some seats in, but I'm seriously considering not going back to full service.
Mm-hmm.
And that's partly because of the iffy nature of what's happening right now, because it could very well be that we'll have another bout of this, or an even worse bout than we did in Canada, and
Mm-hmm.
we'll have to get shut back down again. So I want to keep nimble. I want to not kind of say to the customers, hey, you know, we're back, it's normal, and then have to go, actually, no, not really.
Yeah.
So I think I'd rather find some happy medium that we can maybe stick to for the next year or so, or however long this takes before it kind of fades away, hopefully. So we have our patio in the alley, very physically distanced patio, but it's actually kind of a nice atmosphere in there, and it's cooler in the mornings.
Yeah.
And Carleton Place, this is very exciting, is moving into the big time, and there are going to be 4 pop-up patios that are put in parking spots on the main street. So
Very exciting.
I actually approached my direct competitor, Fresca. They also serve breakfast and lunch. And I said, would you be interested in having a patio in front of your place? And they said, oh, yes, thank you. So the two of us I think we're going to be the 2 restaurants in town that have deck patios out, just small ones. It's partly for advertising. It's partly for hopefully to put some vibrancy on the main street, and partly for our customers. So
yeah. Well, there's still lots of retail shops that are open now, so there's
definitely
more foot traffic.
Yeah, I mean, the local retail owners have been my best customers through this whole thing. I mean, they were still in there quite often working, you know, and doing online orders, and so they would call down and say, hey, what's your soup today? And most of my lunch crowd during the week over the years has been the local business owners. Yeah. So we've got the day trippers that also come in, and that's obviously a lot of the people on the weekends are actually from out of town. So the last 2 or 3 weeks, as we've moved into stage 2, there have been more and more people kind of wandering outside of their communities, and we're all getting a little busier. So
and now stage 3, where we can open inside, right?
So I didn't even hear what the announcement was today.
Yes.
So yeah, okay, I'm gonna have to
get ready.
I mean, I've been thinking about it, trying to figure out how I'm going to do it, because I have such a small dining area that it means I would not be able to have as many people in getting takeout. So I have to really think about that one, how I'm going to, it's not just automatically, great, I'm happy, let's have some people eating inside. I'm really going to have to try to find what works best for the majority of my customers, not just the few that would be able to eat in. So so even if I didn't have takeout, I could probably only fit, with physically distancing, maybe 8 or 10 people.
Yep.
And then if I add the traffic patterns in there of people trying to get to the counter to get takeout, we're probably down to about 6 people. So it's not a huge thing for me that's happening. I'm very happy for other restaurant owners that have bigger spaces, because they have more opportunity to I think keep separate areas. But yeah, for me it's a little more confusing than that. So
because you would almost have to meet people outside to make it worthwhile, which
so I think my main focus is going to be exterior seating with takeout.
Well, yeah, I mean, with the extra patio seats in the parking spot, you can sort of recoup that way, which is great.
Yeah, hopefully. Yeah, of course, with the heat we've been having, wow, I don't know if anybody could manage without melting.
Hanging out on the asphalt.
I don't know. But yeah, a big part of this is it's a huge hit to the restaurant culture, right? The culture of eating in cafes and bistros. And I mean, I think the fast food industry isn't going to be as hard hit. They're even set up better in their dining. They're, easily wipeable, cleanable. I mean, a lot of us have these, I don't know, upholstery and things that don't wash very well, and very tight real estate, if you want to use that term, in our dining areas. So, yeah. And all of the formula for restaurants is based on as many people as you can feed in a day. So I think about some of the places I was in New York City, and it was, you literally had to slide your bum across somebody else's table in order to get into your seat. So, and that's the only way they could ever pay the rent. So yeah, it is a time to rethink the formula of the restaurant, I think. And that's a lot of what I've been doing. So it's not automatically, waiting for us to go back to normal. Because I think that's going to be a long time coming. So
yeah, well, we're even seeing so many restaurants in the market downtown, going under, and
yeah. And I mean,
breaks,
in some ways it's smarter to cut out early so that you don't lose even more money, right? You have to, being a small business person, as you know, is a lot of it is about, it's not about logic at all, or about being a smart business person. It's about loving what you do.
Yeah.
So it's really hard to remove that love and that desperation to, I don't know, somehow keep your baby going when it really might not be possible to do that anymore. So that's why I'm probably going to my original plan of, I'm probably going to be leaning on that as the most practical way to still manage to keep this business going.
Yeah. So. Well, we're all glad that you've kept it open, for sure.
Well, thanks.
And you started making sushi.
Oh yeah.
How did that start?
All of these things that I used to do, and they just didn't do well when I tried it before. I mean, that's a funny thing. You don't want to change what you're doing too often. It's almost like having a nightclub or something, right? Like you want to keep with the trends, but you can't change too often, because then people get really confused. So I get bored easily. I love new things, and that's what used to drive a lot of my customers nuts. It's like, well, what's on the menu today, for God's sake?
I love that about your restaurant.
Okay, well,
I can go like every couple of months. I'm excited because there's something new, or something that was there, a year ago.
That's great, but you have to, it's hard to find that balance between consistency of product and not making people kind of go, I don't want that again. I've always tried to be distinctive from the other restaurants around me, and that has gotten harder and harder over the years, because and this is a good thing, people have changed generally speaking, people have changed their taste so much over the last 20, it's almost 23 years that I've been open. People used to complain about the amount of pepper I used to put in the cream of broccoli soup. And now the same demographic, like I'm talking like 65 to 80-year-olds, they're eating Thai chicken curry. I mean, they're eating everything. And I'm so happy about that. But on the other hand, all of the fast food restaurants are doing this too. Like, everybody does this. All the franchise restaurants, they're doing all this international cuisine. And so I don't stand out anymore. I'm, it almost makes me want to go back to making hamburgers and French fries or something.
Please don't.
But I'm not going to. No, it's really funny though. it's actually very heartwarming because I used to have to desperately try to force people to try new things, and
Yeah.
now they are like, people are, yeah, their horizons have expanded, and
Yeah.
it makes me very happy that, everybody's tastes have moved out from maybe, what they were used to. And
Well, for people on the go, even just to call in 10 minutes in advance and get a sandwich to go and a salad,
yeah,
when I'm running around from client to client, and I don't want a burger, I don't want Tim Hortons, I don't want any of that. And
right.
so a place like yours is perfect, where I can just call up and get a tuna sandwich on a ciabatta bun with a side salad, like the spinach salad with the tarragon dressing. That's my favorite one.
That's great. Yeah.
So that's like, it's such a great option where I don't feel like I need to have a nap after,
Yeah, that's true. I know. I feel like food should give you energy. Actually, it should reinvigorate you, right? That's how I feel about it. So,
yeah,
and hopefully taste good at the same time.
Delicious,
right?
Yeah, everything's delicious.
That's great.
But even though, like, you have consistency, but you also change it up at the same time, right? You have a different quiche every day. You have a different crepe every day. You change up the soup all the time.
Yeah.
Those things.
I mean, this week in the fridge to go, we had guacamole, we had pineapple salsa, we had I'm trying to think. We had maki sushi, which are sold in rolls that you can cut at home so that it doesn't dry out. So
yeah.
I've been told some people have picked one up and actually eaten it whole in the car, which I find shocking. But
they just didn't know.
Why not?
It's the new wrap.
Yeah, that's right. There's it's fun. I'm bringing back some of the old recipes I used to do for dinners too. I was open for dinners for 14 years actually, and it's great. It's fun to go back to making some of these old recipes and being creative again. And you know what? It is opening up a new market. There are people that have come in that felt intimidated before. They're kind of exploring their neighborhood because they're maybe at home working, and they can actually get in there, and it's really fun. I'm meeting some of my neighbors, meeting some of the people that live across the street from me that maybe didn't come in before, and it's wonderful. I love Carleton Place. I love Lanark County.
Yeah. So have you added anything like brand new to the menu, or is there something that you want to try that you haven't yet?
There's always things that I want to try, but I had, I did have this for dinners, but we made some chimichurri sauce the other day, which I love, and it's so fresh and wonderful and tastes good on so many things. And so I put that in the fridge just for sale in containers, and yeah, people grabbed it, and that's great because you can put that on potatoes or fish or chicken or steak or whatever you want. So I don't know, if you have any ideas, let me know.
Any requests?
I don't think there's any. I mean, there's nothing new. There's nothing new under the sun. Everything's been tried before. So it's. I mean, I think molecular gastronomy was probably the only thing that was brand new with all that chemistry with food. But so it's really it's finding like how far can you push it, and actually have people want to try it. So.
You should have like a blind tasting menu, like one night a month or something, and just go crazy. Yeah,
that would be great. I have to figure out how to do that in this age where you can't have too many tasting menus. You can do it in little containers though that people can take for themselves. I mean, you can't maybe have a charcuterie board anymore, but you can do it for individuals. It's definitely interesting. It's
just like order something and you don't know what you're getting, and here's a surprise container of.
Would you go for that?
I would totally get that.
Okay, all right. Yeah. That's a good idea.
Not every day, but maybe like once or twice a month, I would be up for that.
Okay, I'm gonna take that.
Let me know.
I think that's a good one. Sure, sounds good to me.
Like right now, what's your favorite menu item? What's the best thing on the menu for you?
My favorite menu item at this time of year, I like gazpacho and yeah, the summer spinach salad, which has hard-boiled eggs and fresh mushrooms and some grated Swiss and bacon and the creamy tarragon dressing.
Tarragon.
So
That's my favorite salad.
yeah, one of the girls the other day made a Thai sweet potato soup. As I asked her to do that, but
Nice.
so delicious. Really, really great. So it's got Thai red curry and coconut milk and sweet potatoes, and even when it's hot out, you don't mind eating that. So,
Yeah, I guess so. If it's got that sweet aspect to it. That's
yeah.
Nice.
We have a vegan burrito for breakfast. We do have some vegan options, and it's got roasted corn and more sweet potatoes and refried beans, bell peppers and onions, and then it's got our burrito sauce, which is got lots of cumin and chili powder, and it's just really nice. Yeah.
You've always had vegetarian options. Have you always had vegan options too?
Fairly
new?
Yeah, not for dessert, I would say, but for savory things, yes. And the funny thing is, because we make so much from scratch, I can tell people what's in everything, and over the years, people have become confident in believing that.
Yeah.
Because when you're on a restricted diet too, you tend to get a little paranoid about these things, because sometimes people have missed ingredients, especially if you're using bouillon or bases or something, which we don't do. For instance, gluten-free. Most of our soups we make are gluten-free.
And your key lime pie.
Key lime pie is not gluten-free, but
what were you using then for the key lime pie that was different?
Well, actually, that's got a graham crust, so that's the only thing we use a graham crust for, I guess. But no, I do have a vegan gluten-free brownie, which is a peanut butter, and that has sweet potatoes in it too.
Oh,
and the recipe had a bit of flour in it, but it was so little that I decided to adjust it so that it's also gluten-free, and it's just delicious. Really, really good. You don't have to be gluten-free or vegan to eat them.
That's amazing.
They're really good. If you like peanut butter and chocolate together, they're good. Yeah.
Who doesn't?
Once in a while you come across somebody
that's true.
And
be trusted.
our carrot cake, which is really moist without any pineapple, or it has a chai spice cream cheese icing. We were making that before, but for some reason one day I thought, you know what, I want to spice this cream cheese icing up, and I think it would taste really good with, it's got ground coriander and cardamom and ginger, and it's really, really delicious combination.
That sounds amazing.
Yeah, it's good.
Love carrot cake. Okay, I'm gonna come in tomorrow, I think. So because this podcast is focused around Lanark County, I just have a couple of questions that I'm asking everybody at the end of our chats here. So sure. The first one is, what is your favorite hidden gem in Lanark County? Whether it's a restaurant or a retail shop or a piece of nature, what's your favorite thing?
Oh wow! Oh, that's way too much to choose from. No, I'm not being. I'm serious. Okay, well, this is just a partner of mine and customer, but Fluid Solar Roasted Coffee. So we actually do use their coffee, but they're in Lanark County, and they're a couple that have been living off grid for years and years, and they bought a coffee roasting business from Neat Cafe, and they have been roasting coffee off grid, solar roasted coffee.
Wow.
On their own property, and it's very, very small business,
Great.
but it is such a cool spot to go to see the area and to have a tour of the roasting business. Really neat. And you can pick the brains of Bill Kemp, who he and his wife own the property, but he has written books on solar power and off-grid systems, and he's just fascinating. So
Amazing. And you sell bags of that too, right?
I do. Yes, we do. Yeah. Yeah. So they've been customers of ours since, I think, since the beginning. I don't remember a time when they were never coming into the cafe. So.
Well, I think that's pretty remote. I don't think most people would know about that. So
no, that's the thing.
Yeah,
you have to know where they are. You have to. You wouldn't just kind of come across it one
that's definitely a good hidden gem
or something. Yeah.
And then the last one is more about your personal life or your business life. What is the best piece of advice you've ever gotten?
Wow, best piece of Gee, good question. I would say if you love to do something, figure out how to make a living doing that. Yeah. Because otherwise, while you're making a living doing something else, you'll be dreaming about that the whole time. So
that's so true.
So that's what happened to me, actually, and I haven't regretted it. It's not that it hasn't been hard. It's been probably impossible. I don't even know how. I think back to the things I did. I don't even know how I did it, but
you had a lot of ups and downs over the past.
Oh yeah, and physically, physically and mentally, I don't even know how. But I mean, if there's something that you just can't stop thinking about, it probably means that's what you should be doing in your life. Amazing. So yeah.
A perfect way to end our conversation. Thank you so much for joining me on We Know Lanark County, and I look forward to seeing you when I need a meal next, because I want to try all the stuff you just talked about.
Thank you so much for your support, Laura, and for your support of everything in Lanark. It's wonderful. It's my adopted home, and I can't imagine living anywhere else. So thank you.
I'm with you. Have a great day, and we'll see you soon.
You too. Thanks a lot.
Okay, you bet. Bye, Petra.